you're 6-1 at this point, and I'm curious. Despite your record, it feels like you keep getting discredited by boxing critics, no matter who you're fighting. And I'm wondering if that's something that motivates you or something you just ignore entirely.
Well, both. Well, both. Like it motivates me to prove these people wrong and to show them that I'm different. And you don't see any boxer who's 6-1, or even when I was 4-0, taking on 8-round fights, taking on champions, former champions, and now going 10 rounds in my eighth fight. You just don't see it. And so they could say all of these things, but most boxers, Gervonta Davis fighting a guy who has no wins in his eighth fight. The list goes on and on and on. Most fighters build up their fights with these journeymen, trash can taxi drivers, and they just go in there and knock them out until their 25th fight. Then they fight someone good. So I'm setting a new precedent in the sport. And when there's critics, there's a massive upside, and you want people to be talking about you.
You're obviously a favorite again for this fight, and I think the average person would say Nate Diaz has been kind of nonchalant, being late for interviews, leaving press conferences. I just wonder, how seriously do you think he's actually taking this fight?
Well, I know he's taking it seriously. The rumors on the streets, he's sparring 20, 30 rounds, doing triathlons to get in shape. And this is a massive moment for him. This is a legacy fight for both of us. For me, if I lose, it's like, oh, haha, the gig is up. And for him, if he loses, it's like he can't go back to the UFC and do all of the things that he wants to do. And he's, supposed to be this gangster, crazy, insane fighter, legendary, blah, 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 amazing striker, never been knocked out, all of these things. And so I have the opportunity to put the nail in his coffin.
You say talk about going back to UFC. I'm kind of wondering, like, how do you even train for a guy or prep for a guy who hasn't, been in a boxing match before?
Well, I mean, it's a little bit different, but he's been boxing with, Andre Ward since years and years ago. He grew up that's his first martial art, and he's been in the boxing gym. So he has that boxing style. He has that striking style. He stopped Conor McGregor with his fists. So he is a boxer, but he does have a little bit of a funky style. But we're just bringing in sparring partners that can emulate that style.
I saw you said in another interview that you're going to be a completely different fighter in this fight than you've been in previous fights. What exactly do you mean by that? What do people, or what should people expect to see from you?
Well, I've only been boxing for 3 years, right? So you give me 6 months to train. That's whatever the math is on that, but it's big in terms of my whole overall career. That time I'm getting exponentially better. I brought in a new team, new strength and conditioning, new head coach, new nutritionist at a world champion level, and that has made all the difference in the world. I'm in the best shape of my life, the best state of my life, mentally, physically, everything. So it's a new me. I'm having so much more fun with this sport. We went back, worked on the fundamentals, the basics, and August 5th, I'm going to put on a boxing clinic.
You say go back to the basics, and you mentioned a couple times just the time, right? Like I think it's fair to say that your intro to boxing, although I guess you could say it for Diaz too, has gotten a ton of attention right out of the gate. Whereas a lot of guys, they kind of build up their reputation, they build up their attention, and you got it, from the very first fight. Do you feel like it's almost made it a tougher battle for you along the way, or just having that spotlight, that limelight from the very beginning?
100%, 100%. But pressure creates diamonds, and it's shaped me into who I am today. But no other boxer has to deal with that. And because of the spotlight, because of how massive this has all gotten, there's more and more critics, and people at every stop and every turn are going to be chanting something negative or trying to do everything to rip away what I've done and my accomplishments in this sport, because it's just simply based off of jealousy.
You also mentioned earlier, doing the triathlons, Diaz, to prep for the fight. A lot's been made of his endurance. He said, the longer the fight goes on, the better his chances. Do you agree with that? Have you been training differently at all to get your cardio or endurance up?
Yeah, I mean, we've increased the rounds, but I think the longer fight is actually to my advantage. Despite his incredible cardio, it takes me a little bit to get warmed up in there. I come alive as the rounds go on. You take a look at my fights previously, I drop Anderson Silva in the 8th round. I drop Tommy Fury in the 8th round. I knock out Tyron Woodley in the 6th round. So a lot of my best performances and best moments in the fights come later on as I get warmed up. But the 10 rounds does make it interesting. But I don't think it's going to go that long.
Okay, so if it's not endurance, then what is Diaz's strength? What do you have to train for? Earlier you mentioned a funky style, but what are you having to adjust to or prep for?
Well, I mean, he has knockout power in his left hand. He's put a lot of UFC champions down with it, dropped them, stunned them. So you just got to be cautious of that and be looking out for it the whole fight.
And I'll do the super easy one, I guess, to finish up with you. For anybody in our area in Dallas Fort Worth who's maybe a casual fan of the sport or wants to get interested, why should they come out on August?
It's gonna be a show, man. It's gonna be a war. That's what we're bringing to the table here. Two of the most entertaining fighters in the sport, and it's gonna be my best performance. And I want to leave that stadium with a knockout. There's only a couple tickets left upstairs. All the lower bowls are sold out. So if people want to get tickets, they better hurry up because there's only a few left. But it's going to be fun, man. And I'm going to knock them out.